Well, boys, we have another problem. She's not starting up, and I have been trying to tackle this for the longest time, and I just cannot get it. The battery has 13 volts. The positive terminal on the coil has 12.7 volts. The negative end of the terminal has about 13 volts. Side of the actual coil, it is about 13 volts. I also swapped out the voltage regulator for a new OEM replacement. And underneath the distributor cap, I did replace it with a brand new rotor and a brand new cap, and everything in there looks mint and brand new. And then as you guys see here, I have the Pertronix Igniter 3 as well, which I don't really know how to test if this is bad or not, but this is pretty much the highest grade that you could go without going MSD. And then the distributor that I actually have, I'm not entirely sure, but it is spinning because every time I open up the distributor cap, the rotor is in a different position. So I have no idea why this car is not starting. This full wiring harness as well that's leading to the coil, as well as the distributor, has 12 volts. We are getting fuel, as you guys could see here. You can see that as well as smell it. The fuel is good to go. So it's definitely not the mechanical fuel pump that's having the difficulties. The ohms of the coil wires are also good. I tested out the ohms there. So it's not the coil wires, and these hardly ever go bad. Alrighty, this coil is not giving off ignition, even though this is a brand one Pentatronix Flamethrower 2, along with the Pentatronix igniter switch within here. So I have no idea what's going on. Beverly is currently down as we speak. Let me know down in the comments what you think it is. If I have to swap out the full distributor, which again, I don't really think it is the case. I really don't want to swap out the full distributor and stuff like that, but if I have to, I must. And just to let you guys know that the distributor is working. As you guys see, the rotor's in a different position. I think it may be this Pertronix unit right here that may be bad, because it's not telling this thing to fire. I'm not entirely sure, but that's where we are right now. Beverly is down. So now that she's down, I'm going to continue to work on her, see if we could get this back up and running. But I just got word that my engine block is finally back from the machine shop, along with all of my forged internals. Going to my engine builder's shop, Wayne, as you guys have seen multiple times here, to check out what we have in store for Beverly, to get rid of this 289 and to swap it out with the 5.0. The motor is finally back from the machine shop. Now it's time to get building. Today we're gonna go over all of the internals on this Coyote motor that will be going into my 1968 Ford Mustang Fastback. Let's get right into it. Here is the Gen 1 short block that we're gonna be putting into my Mustang, and I am so happy how it turned out. If you guys have not seen previously, we have talked about Coyote motors multiple times where I've taken delivery of the motor. This short block has been machined, has been perfected by the same machine shop that did my Shelby GT500 here in San Diego, Total Performance, and we're gonna do a full walk around. Previously, it was kind of beat. This was out of a 2014 Mustang GT, and let's look over to see what the machine shop have done. Basically, they sheared off one layer on the top, and then they honed the cylinder walls to get that nice clean finish. And as you guys could see, that is perfect. It is mint, and everything is like brand new. This has been a full glow up, if you ask me, when it comes to this short block, and I can't wait to start this building process. So make sure you subscribe and like down below for more details. But here's just a full walk around of everything that we have, and we have completely transformed this into brand new. Shout out to Total Performance for doing awesome machine work. They did work on my Shelby GT500, and they also did work on this Coyote. And before we get into it, let's go ahead and talk about a new addition that Wayne has, this awesome Impala. And this is actually one of the coolest rides I've ever seen. It has hydraulics. Very, very cool car. In addition, with his F100 that he just picked up as well, plans on doing a Coyote swap on this. So if you want more updates on this one, I could definitely go ahead and provide that. Let me know down in the comments. I'm so sad about this notch. This one is sold here. This would be the only Fox body I would ever get, a black with the notch back, and gosh, that just looks so nice. And then we have another Coyote swap here coming. This is the motor taken out of the red one, and a Coyote will be here living very, very shortly. So we have tons of Coyote swaps happening here at Wayne's. Wayne also just completed this 1000 wheel horsepower 4.6 liter illuminator that's going to be going in an 04 Cobra. This is going to be such a badass build. It's going to terrorize. Very, very similar setup to mine, just a little slight adjustments, but this one is going to be menacing as well. In addition, we also have the 5.8 that you guys have seen, and then the 800 horsepower, as well as the Coyote. This Coyote will be going into that red fox body. Now that we have all of those updates, let's go into the internals and discuss what's going to be going inside of my new Coyote motor. So as discussed in the previous videos, we are trying to reach a goal of 500 wheel horsepower, naturally aspirated, no boost at all. It's going to be a very clean setup. It's going to be one of the, if not the only 500 horsepower naturally aspirated Coyote on YouTube. And so if you guys want to stay tuned for all of the details, all of the builds, make sure you subscribe and follow. Here on the channel, we do things that are never been done before, like we do with the Shelby GT500 and other builds. So let's discuss what we have going in store here. I have everything laid out on all of the internals that were going into the Coyote. I could have had the decision of just getting a completely bone stock, but since we're starting from the ground up, why not provide the upgrades like MMR or upgrades like Boss 302 internals, ARP, and that's what we're going to discuss right now. So let's go ahead and discuss the fun parts, the fun internals that are going to be going into the motor. First, we have the Boss 302 rods that will be going into the motor. The Boss 302 is such a great platform and can hold the power that we are pushing plus more. They are forged internals, so they will be very, very beefy, and we could really be on this naturally aspirated motor, and these rods will hold up just fine. So we are going with the Boss 302 rods and caps. When we talk about pistons, the pistons is going to be the secret sauce. I'm not going to tell you guys exactly the details that we have on the pistons, but just know that they are high compression. So we are equipping the Maul pistons, which is going to be one of the components that we will need to reach that 500 rear horsepower naturally aspirated. Now when we talk about the crank, we also have the Boss 302 crank, all forged internals, and this crank will spin. Hopefully we could get into the 8500 RPM. I really want to reach that 9000 RPM, but this Boss 302 crank is going to be equipped on the Coyote motor. Now we want to make sure that we have everything intact and nothing loose. We need the highest performing bolts and hardware to put everything together. And as you guys have seen previously, I have equipped ARP on my 1200 horsepower GT500 motor, and it's doing very, very well. So we are going to be equipping the ARP hardware on the Coyote motor as well, for the heads at least. And we actually have the Gen X timing chains, which these are an upgrade of what I had on the Shelby GT500. Is it going to be an overkill? Yes, but that's going to have the insurance that we're going to be okay through this build. So shout out to MMR for having the highest grade materials, parts, hardware to equip on modular motors. And we are also going to be doing like the crankshaft gear. We'll make sure that all of the other accessories, like smaller ones, are provided by MMR, because MMR is nothing but the best. Now when it comes to gaskets, we're just going to keep it plain and simple. Since we're not pushing too crazy numbers, we just have the Ford factory replacement gaskets, like the head gaskets. We also have the timing cover, the crank seal, we have the crankshaft bolt. All of the gaskets needed to make sure that the motor is sealed is just factory replacements. Nothing special here, so this will get the job done. Along with other hardware, again, since we're not pushing too much horsepower, and I really do not plan on pushing a lot of horsepower, we do have parts from Ford, just the basic bolts to put everything together here. So really the only heavy duty hardware that we have from ARP is going to keep down the heads and other accessories. So, but when it comes to putting the motor back, all we really need is the basic Ford performance, since we're going to keep it naturally aspirated and keep numbers somewhat on the down low. And then we also have the Boss 302 bearings, as you guys see here, and as well as the main seals that we have available here. We're doing a combination of the forge and the stock. We are doing the forge on what really needs to be forged, and we're keeping stock what needs to be stock, because even the parts from Ford are good for very, very high horsepower numbers. So those are all of the forged internals and all the other internals that we're going to be equipping on the Coyote motor. We do not have the camshafts, because the camshafts is also going to be another secret recipe that we are going to need in order to achieve the goals. The camshafts, as well as the pistons that we have, are going to be the exclusive axis here. The camshafts are going to be provided by L&M Camshaft, which is the same company that I have equipped on my Shelby GT500. It's gonna chop like crazy, and it's gonna be one of the parts that we are really gonna need for this build is the camshaft. So stay tuned for a separate video. We're going to be making a completely different video with the heads as well as the camshafts when we get that in store. But since we're talking about the heads and camshafts, let's go ahead and take a look on the heads that we're going to be equipping on the Coyote motor. These are the heads minus the cams that we are going to be rocking. We are going with the L&M custom grind cams, and that's going to be the secret sauce for everything. We do have all the accessories here, just basically a plug and play. Nothing special with these heads, no port, no polish, nothing like that, just because it's not needed for this particular build. So these are the heads that are going to be equipped along with the ARP hardware to make sure that these are pretty stable on the block itself. Heads have a lot of potential in them, designed very, very good. I don't think we're going to have any problems with the heads, which is one of the things that I really enjoy, because head work can be very expensive, time consuming, and just a hassle to deal with. Now with this motor, we are going to need specific fueling to reach those numbers as well. The one thing that I'm super happy to announce is that we are going to be running E85 with this motor, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be very cool to see a classic Mustang being fueled by an E85, so that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to. In addition to this motor, we are looking for a manifold, most likely a Gen 3 manifold, because those are literally perfect and will fit underneath the hood, and I'm pretty sure I'm either going to be going with a Gen 3 manifold or a Voodoo manifold, one of those two, and then along with throttle body and cold air intake, most likely a JLT and a BBK throttle body. So nothing too special when it comes to the manifold, throttle body, and cold air intake, just the basic things. We are going to do the building. I will make sure that I show you guys the process for the building, and hopefully this will be done very shortly. Thank you guys for staying tuned for this video. I'm super excited to bring you guys this content here. We're taking one step at a time. After we finish the motor, we're going to be talking about transmission. Then we have to get the front end conversion kit, which is basically chopping the front end off and swapping it out with a kit that I'm still not decisive on. There's about 2 or 3 kits, but I do want to complete everything there. And then we're gonna need a custom drive shaft, we're gonna need a rear end, we're gonna need fuel system, all the little accessories after that. So we're starting with the motor. We are almost there, about like a quarter way. There is a lot of stuff to do with it. I'm gonna try doing it as quick as possible and keep you guys updated. Share this with your buddies, because the more views the better. Like, share as much as you can, spread this video around. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you slam the like button. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Deuces. Peace out. I like to